Hello, this is the Our Voices Matter project. Today is August 9th, 2011. I am at the Bloomfield Center and I'm sitting with Betrina. How are you?
Not too bad, thank you.
Good.
Nervous, but I wanted something out of this for a long time, of getting an interview.
Well, here we go. Maybe, Betrina, you can tell me when and where you were born?
In British Columbia, the old St. Mary's Hospital in Westminster.
And what was your childhood like?
I was born in school in 1914. Went to Seton Academy. My mother was a very strict mother, and she had mental problems, I think.
Mm-hmm.
She dominated my dad. And I was given the impression I was a bad little girl because I wouldn't work in school. Never had the chance, never listened to myself. Maybe I couldn't work in school, I was sick.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not how my parents viewed it.
How did your parents view it?
I was a bad little girl, put it that way.
Oh, okay. Did you have brothers and sisters?
2 younger brothers.
Oh, wow. Much younger, or?
About 4 years younger, and the youngest was about 14 years younger.
So, and you lived in British Columbia the whole time you went to school?
Yeah. Except for the course after, in my adulthood, I took, what did you, I'm sorry. What did you say? I can't
Oh, sorry. I said, did you live in British Columbia the whole time you went to school?
Oh, that's what you said. Yes, but I also went to Open Door and Careers Associations in Ontario.
Okay. Okay, when was that? How old were you? Do you remember?
Well, I think it was 1999 I went to Kitchener.
Okay.
I was, how old was I at the time? 38 or 39, and I went to Open Door in Kitchener. Then I went to typing course. After that, child. It was a Catholic community care, I guess. And I was sick in that time. I was in Ontario, sicker than British Columbia.
Okay.
I was doing more in British Columbia than I was doing in Ontario.
Do you want to go back to, we'll get to Ontario, but go back to British Columbia.
Uh-huh.
And did you stay in school the whole way through, or did you leave, or?
I kept in school, except I graduated at 19 years of age.
Okay.
I went to first I went to school. Went to Windsor, Goose Gander, I believe. Back to Windsor. This is elementary. Then at Seton Academy. Then Alpha and North Burnaby.
Oh, wow. Did you live in lots of different places, or?
When I was an adult by myself, yes I did. But
Okay.
I was living with my grandmother for a few years. Living with my parents for a few years after I got out of boarding school.
Oh, okay.
I was living with my, living with my grandmother, living with my parents.
How, you said school was difficult. Did you make friends, or were you a loner, or?
More or less a loner.
Mm-hmm. Any sort of hobbies? You say you're a writer now. Did
Yes.
you enjoy that then? On books and?
My life then, Graham, I had a very crazy life. I said in the real world, I was these things it wasn't real. To get by, I had imaginary worlds in my head as I was growing up. And the main world I had since I was a young girl.
Mm-hmm.
And I really ever told anybody this. But I said the real world didn't exist anyway. And to me, the real world did not exist. I was going through so much. I failed grade 7, failed grade 8, didn't even pass. I don't even know. I think I passed grade 7, but I didn't pass grade 8.
Mm-hmm. So these whirls in your head, they were a way of coping, were they?
Yes, I think I made a mistake.
Okay.
Grade 6 I passed, but grade 7 I don't know. I didn't go into grade 8.
But it sounds like a confusing time.
Oh, it was. Fussy for a child to cope.
Oh yes, probably. Did you ever back then, or did your parents or teachers did they ask you to go to doctors or anything? Because
I think they sent they told my parents for me to go to a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Then I had a breakdown at 19. Then I went to the mental health. Went to Riverview, the mental health.
Okay.
The state of mental health. And I think I was going as a vegetable at that time.
Right. You were just not. You shut down.
Yeah.
Did they, at that point, was this when it became, I guess, part of your vocabulary, mental illness, and did you think of this when you were a kid that something was wrong, or did you just live in these things just to cope, and that was your life?
Well, I thought it was wrong where I was, and my mum was something wrong with her too.
Mm-hmm.
But that world, I had through the years, and kept the world helped me a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I gave it up a few times, but I've always taken it back.
Right. No.
Feel guilty about me. I feel guilty about myself having it, but I'm not harming anybody. I'm just trying to help myself.
Absolutely. So let's talk about when you were 19, and you said you this is when it was concluded, or you were diagnosed with an illness. Was that a good thing or a bad thing? People I've talked to, some say it's a good thing because at least you know what's going on. Some say it's a bad thing because they don't like the fact that they have an illness. How did it feel to you? Do you remember learning about this?
I feel like you're different than other people, and even through adulthood, even the other people mentally ill think they're better than you.
Mm-hmm. It is a hard world. Were there, as I said, good and bad things? Were there any good things or good people that you ran into around that time? When you were a young adult, 19, 20, 21, that age. Did you run into some good people or good supports, I guess is a good word? Places to go? And where...
I was in homes at the time.
You were in homes.
And they weren't the best.
Pardon?
And they weren't the best.
No. Did you start any medication or anything?
Oh, yes.
That sort?
I've been on thyroidazine, chlorpromazine at different times. Hadro, which causes seizures. Stelzine. Well, I can remember what they were.
No, and they're all long names too.
Yes. And lithium. I mean, I'm still on lithium. Let's say.
Did you agree with what they told you, that this was a mental illness? Do you mind saying if there was a name for it or a diagnosis?
Schizophrenia, manic depression.
Schizophrenia and manic depression, or as they call it, bipolar now.
Yeah.
And this medication, I mean, there's good and bad things about medication, as you know. Did they help, or was the medication a trouble to deal with?
I don't know, Graham. I think it's a trouble to deal
with.
But I would never stop. I would never refuse my medication.
But there's side effects and
bad ones.
Yeah. When you were 19 or 20, around this time you were in homes. Now you say you went to Kitchener when you were quite a bit older. Were these all
38.
homes? These were all.
I got there myself.
You got there yourself.
And a lot of places I lived by myself too before that.
Not in homes,
Columbia.
but...
No, I got out of homes 25, 24, and it was different places with my animals.
Oh, you have pets?
I did have pets, yes.
Yeah. Did you... What sort of pets did you have? Did you...
Cats and dogs.
Keep you company?
Yeah, and they were always there for you.
Did you make any friends in these homes, or are there people that you remember from that time period?
Acquaintances,
Yeah.
we had no problems with each other. It's just that we'll go acquaintances, and I had a friend that I met somewhere.
Mm-hmm. And were you still in contact with your family, your brothers, or?
Yes,
Yeah.
no, wait a minute. No, I wasn't.
Okay.
Well, went home every weekend.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. But different things at different times.
Yeah, I
Sounds
forgot.
like a lot of changes, just practical changes, like living in different places.
Yeah,
And I mean, that's stressful on its own.
yeah.
You know, whether you're well or not, they say moving is one of the greatest stresses. And I think people don't realize that sometimes. And being moved from place to place is disruptive. Did you feel it was disruptive, or were you moving to better places?
When I was moving around, Graham, and I'm telling you, when I had the animals, I used to sleep. I was in my bed one day when I just moved. That's all over now with.
Mm-hmm. Speaking, just side effects, because sometimes side effects affect your life. Did you have things like trouble sleeping or sleeping too much?
Yeah.
Sleep is something that I know for myself is a big factor in whether I'm well or not.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have any? What did you do? I guess what sort of pastimes did you do?
Well, taking care of my animals, writing.
Mm-hmm. Writing.
Working with mental challenged children as a volunteer. Working at daycare centers, cleaning up as a volunteer. Women and grants. That was grants, and the other one was grants too. The first was volunteer at Donald Patterson. Then it was a grant. They put me on a grant. What was it called? CIP grant.
Okay.
That's back in BC.
Mm-hmm.
That was, I worked at Donald Patterson as a volunteer, then at CIP. Knew Don as a volunteer and CIP too. And when I was on, they also put me on a special, handicap worker.
Okay.
And then I used to do volunteer work for them afterwards.
Did you have physical troubles then too, with walking or anything of that sort then?
Yeah, my hip was bothering me.
Your hip was bothering you.
I couldn't walk very well.
So that makes it difficult, regardless of how you're feeling mentally, you know.
Yeah, and my mom was no help on that one.
No? No. So you get busy. And did you enjoy working and doing things? I mean, these volunteer grant positions. Did you enjoy it, or did it pass the time?
Yeah, I guess. But when I did all this volunteer work, and I got nothing for it, nobody will work for free.
No.
But they expect the mentally ill to work for free.
Yes. And how did you feel about this illness? I mean, I know for myself, I was diagnosed when I was in my late 20s,
Mm-hmm.
and it took a number of years before I said, okay, there's some truth to this.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what I can do to improve my situation.
Mm-hmm.
At first, I didn't want to hear about it. Was it that sort of process take place with you over time? That
I never had a chance to get it. It was when I was living on the island, before I moved to Kitchener. I tell you, I was talking to Dr. Young, I guess his name was Young. He said, I really didn't want to be your doctor, whatever he had told me. And I mentioned schizophrenia to him. He said, yeah, I'm going to leave you. Get out of my office.
really?
So, yes.
So you ran into a lot of obstacles.
Oh,
I would
yeah,
think.
many, yeah.
Were there people that did know what mental illness was and how to work with it, or did it take a long time to find them? I'm talking about BC now.
I
like,
know.
well,
I don't know. I haven't been there for...
yeah, it's a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
So, is there anything else, before we, I guess, move to Kitchener, is there anything else about BC that, you know, other than it seemed very disruptive,
Mm-hmm.
all this moving and these volunteer positions,
Yes.
and not really finding a niche or somewhere
Mm-hmm.
there. Is this one of the reasons you went to Ontario?
I felt like an outcast.
Mm-hmm.
Did I tell you also I felt like an outcast before I moved to Ontario from British Columbia. I changed my name.
Oh no, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I changed my name.
Just
Legally too. Betrina Tremonica from Diane Viola Claxton.
okay. And you had decided that you needed something new, and
Yes.
this is sort of symbolic of change, right? It's and did that help you? Because one thing, as you say, I'm hearing that it must have been hard to keep your spirits up.
Yes, it still is.
Are there things you did back then? I'm thinking you probably read a fair bit, and things like passing the time and that. But it is moving sometimes, and just keep doing something is sometimes. Did you find that there wasn't a lot of opportunities for you? As you said, it was volunteer work.
Yes.
And you probably had to wrestle with the system for
Oh,
money
yes.
and placements and things like
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
And no one to really guide you through it. Let's talk about when you decided or was told, because I don't know, what brought you to Ontario?
I went out of BC.
You'd had enough.
Yes, more than enough. First of all, before that, I went from, took my animals to, I had 3 dogs and 4 cats, to Calgary to get a life over there. Well, it was a nightmare. I was really sick, got involved with the Calgary police. Oh, and they were mean. The other one had said they got my animals back as far as I know. They were in good condition, but I sometimes wonder if those Calgary police have got the SPCA or whatever to do something to those animals. I wonder at times, did they? To punish me.
Yeah. So again, no better.
No.
No better. Were you there long?
In Calgary, 3 days.
Oh, that's it. Okay.
Yeah.
Was this on the way to Ontario?
No, I was sent back to BC.
Okay.
So I moved to Saskatchewan. I was trying to get help with a hospital. Saskatchewan people sent me back because they were a lot nicer than Calgary police.
Right. So before you got to Ontario, there was a lot of moving around.
Yes.
I mean, this is Alberta, Saskatchewan, and BC, back and forth. What brought you to Ontario? Did you want to go?
Yeah. Yes, there was something else before. The Calgary police said that Cindy she's check it and see if Cindy was, not Cindy, Princess was well, and if they weren't, and she couldn't go home, she couldn't go back. So I said, okay, she's at you, put her to sleep. Oh gosh, my mind was absolutely gone. I got the Cindy and Honey back at the end. They said, well, if I cause any trouble, I won't get Cindy and Honey back. Oh, I didn't cause any trouble. I didn't know if I got Cindy and Honey back. I had to wait to get it back to BC. And then I tried to get I was going by plane. I was trying to get some help from, there was an RCMP there. And she came over to me. She said, well, you better behave yourself or be a big stick waiting for you in BC. Now that's the attitude the police had.
Yeah, that sounds like an awful experience. Did you ever actually get in trouble with the law, or were they just
Well,
trying to get you out of there? Do you know?
Trying to get me out of there. Yes, I had trouble with the law when I was very ill. But it was just, well, I was a lot of stress. I guess mental illness is maybe kind of high too.
Yeah.
I had the animals bring it, the kennels, and I didn't have enough on the check. I didn't have enough to, and I wrote a check, a food on a check, wrote it to the kennels, and they the second day they came back, and I ended up having they called the police, and I ended up going to the police, and I was in jail overnight, and Then I went to court, but it wasn't mine. No, they did. They had my lawyer had said she didn't know what she was doing. Oh yes, she did. I had a lot of job. No, so they charged me with attempting to forge a check.
Oh, okay. I mean, it happens so often that people with mental illnesses, they fall into trouble with the law because they're not clear-headed. Did you feel? I mean, this wasn't.
No, I wasn't clear-headed. Far from it.
Yeah, if there had been, some, like nowadays they have mental health courts and things like that, which it sort of allows people to get to help rather than get in trouble. I mean, a lot of, I mean, these are minor little things that are. Do you think that people should look at these or these infractions as, maybe we should help this person. This person wouldn't do this if they had help. Yeah. You didn't get into too much trouble.
No, not really. I got a slap on the wrist.
Yeah, and they sent you back to BC, did they?
That was in BC.
That was in BC, yes. Okay. So, I was thinking Calgary, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. That's my fault.
No problem. Was it your choice to go to Ontario?
Yes.
Was it a better...
I thought it would be a better place. Went to Open Door. Here's X-rays in Kitchener. I was in the hospital in Kitchener too before I took those courses.
Right. Let me think. Let's just take a break for a second.
Okay.
And then we'll join up in a minute. All right, we're back with Betrina. We were just starting to talk about getting to Ontario. If you want to say what led up to that, maybe.
Yeah, because I needed a new life. I had a new name, and I needed a new life. Went to a couple of courses there. I lived at the YWCA, and then I lived. Then I moved to St. Catharines. No, Hamilton. No, then I moved to Hamilton, the YWCA, and then St. Catharines, then Toronto, then to Whitby.
Wow.
And I know. And then I get a laugh at myself. It's good that you can.
Yeah. It's the best thing sometimes.
Hamilton, St. Catharines, Whitby. Oh no, St. Catharines, Toronto. Whitby, Oshawa. And around there somewhere.
Now,
I've been to twice
these different places, did you stay there long, or were you just trying to find a place to settle?
Stay and then stay there long.
No?
No. Not compared to where I stayed over where I live now.
Right. How long were you in Ontario altogether?
7 years.
7 years. Did you go to the hospital in Ontario, or
Yeah.
was you just staying in homes, or?
I was in the hospital.
Hospital. Was that hospital in all these different places, or?
No.
Did you get well and then get worse again?
I must have, yeah. But I never was that well, and I don't know how well I am now.
Right. What I'm wondering is, at that time, what would have been really helpful?
Yeah, some psychiatrist to talk with me, or somebody to talk with me, and let me get the pain out and the fear out, the guilt out, talk it out, and then eventually deal with it. Also live on a farm. Be with the animals.
Were you most comfortable?
Yeah.
And
animals don't hurt you.
Did you find any good doctors or workers or anything like that?
No.
And what years were these? Were these the 90s or was this later?
90s.
90s? And did you get in trouble with the police again there, or was it okay? You were okay there?
Well, I tried to get some help with the police one day, and they said, if you don't leave, we're going to arrest you. Oh, I went. If you don't stop harassing us, we'll leave.
Really hard to find a place to fit in, you know?
Yes.
Back to symptoms, just were you still having a lot of symptoms, or did they come and go? You know, you get a little better and then a little worse?
Yeah. especially with moving around.
Again, back to it's stressful and you feel like an outsider.
And also those homes, how ill they make you, bad how they make you feel. They seem to be okay for a while, and then you don't understand what they're doing.
Right. Just
Are
a
you
lot
a
of
bad
different
person?
people. Yeah, a lot of different people and changing staff
Mm-hmm.
and changing rules and so lots of change. So you were in Ontario for 7 years. Is that when you moved down here? After Ontario?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, in Nova Scotia.
Right. And did you want to move down here, or did they suggest you come down here, or did you have
I
family
wanted to
here?
move.
Did you have family or
No,
friends here?
No.
You just came by yourself.
Yes, I did that in Ontario, did that in Calgary, did that in Saskatchewan.
And so did you move to Halifax or to Dartmouth?
Originally, no, to the Valley.
Oh, to the Valley. Okay.
Windsor, Hants County, Berwick, Colbrook.
All along, right?
Yeah.
And when you got there, did you work or do volunteer stuff again?
No.
Or
I went to school.
you went to school? Oh,
Yeah.
What did you do in school?
Open door and heels and curves excavations. I know what open. I can't remember what it was about.
Mm-hmm. And after that, you came here.
Yeah.
And when did you? How long ago did you come to Halifax, Dartmouth?
When I was 50 years of age. When how long I lived in Halifax, but I was living in the Twin Maples over in Dartmouth,
Mm-hmm.
and that's when I got the. Well, how did it go? I moved over. Boy, it makes
It's hard to remember, isn't it?
Yes.
And you've moved so often. that
Yeah.
I have trouble for the same reason remembering what order I lived in places. I remember the places, but not what order.
Yeah, me too.
Did you find it better when you came to town? Isn't that really the same thing again?
I think so. As a doctor told me in Ontario, it's the same old story. I'm hoping one of these things, have interviews with you and other people, I hope they will change to help me change my life.
Well, hopefully that's part of this is so that you are heard.
Yeah.
And maybe we can do that because we've got your story up to you're in Nova Scotia now.
Mm-hmm.
Are there things that you're doing? I know you go to the clubhouse here.
Yes.
And I'm assuming you like that.
Mm-hmm.
Are there things that you have now that you didn't have before that make things better, or people?
To be honest, I'm not too sure. Veet House is good.
Mm-hmm.
Marg is good.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know Donna enough.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I don't know. I do my work, I go let's eat after the work start, and I go fall asleep, and I hate that.
Well, it's tiring, yeah. Are there things that you think are missing? I know there are things you think are missing, but what would you think's missing that, say, would have helped you at different stages? Well, look at this, maybe go back to when you were a teenager and then when you found out that you had mental illness.
Mm-hmm.
Were there things at that time which you wished had taken place, or people there, or people who did certain things?
Yes.
You said before someone to talk to.
To help me out instead of disliking me.
Mm-hmm. Do you find it easier to, I know I do, to talk with people who live with mental illness, other people who live with mental illness, because you've got some sort of common ground.
Mm-hmm.
A, the way you feel, and B, the kind of situations you've been through.
Mm-hmm.
Does that help?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talking to the people.
Talking to the people. Do
You know, we could talk to people. Everybody could have a good talk, And the thing is, we could give our experiences what we've gone through. And maybe they'll help other people too in the group.
Maybe stop other people from experiencing what you've experienced, the
Yes.
the difficulties.
That too, yes.
I mean, one of the big difficulties that you've expressed, and I definitely, from hearing your story, understand, is this constant change of where you're moving, where you're living, all of those things. There's no consistency. And so it's hard to use the expression put down roots or get settled. And I don't know, if you can't get settled, it's hard to get things done. It's hard to improve. It's hard to get well. Do you find that, like, when you've moved here, have you been living in the same sort of places for longer
14
here?
now.
14 years?
Something, let's see, I moved when I was 50, 62, 12.
12 years. And have you been in the same place for a long time?
For 12 years,
So
yes.
that you've been there for the 12 years?
Yes. I moved there when I was 50. I'm 62 now. That's 12 years.
And is it a home with other people? Or?
Yes.
Yeah. And you come here most days.
Yes, I do.
How do you get back and forth?
Accessibus.
Accessibus, of course, yeah. And there's activities here. Are there other things, like, do you ever go to groups or discussions or things like that?
I'd love to have that. But where do you have it?
There's a few, but they're sometimes hard to get to, especially if you have trouble getting around.
Yeah.
And it's hard to find out about. Do you find it hard to get information? Do you ever go on the computers about it? I mean, that's where everything is now.
No, I may have a long time ago.
Yeah, it's a new thing to learn. I mean, I think that most information is online now. It's not, I'm wondering one day if people will still have libraries. I hope so.
I hope so too. You a writer?
Yeah, I write and I play music.
Yeah.
I find. Do you find that do you write creative stuff?
Yes, I write anything I want. I'm lucky. I'm gifted. I write. Can you just see the time?
We're okay time-wise, I think.
Yeah.
And writing, you find it really helpful? Have other people seen you writing?
Yes. I've been published before.
Oh, wow.
I've been published and not paid anything, but other places, especially the House, which I sell them for $10, and they help me out with the covers, and I do all the work, all the writing.
Are they stories or are they poems?
Stories, poems, prose, novels. I haven't got any of those out, but just my poems.
And do you do this a lot, or do you do it a lot at sometimes and then give it up for a while and back to it?
I just feel like whenever I want to, and I haven't really a long time.
Some people say it's an escape, but it's also very healthy because, I think for myself, and for me a lot of it's music, but being creative or having creative outlets is really helpful.
Yes.
And you're very lucky because writing, you don't need a lot to write.
No.
You don't need, equipment, and you don't, basically if you've got pen and paper, you're okay.
Well, I use a computer.
Or the computer, yeah. Have you ever been to any writing workshops?
No, I don't think I have. I know I've been to workshops, but writing workshop. I went to school at Douglas College, and I was writing there, and they had let me have it for 2 months, course, and I got a B out of it.
Oh wow, that's great. Did you enjoy that?
When I got a B out of my story I wrote, a long time ago, yes.
Yeah. There are things out there, and I know certain places have them. There's art therapy and music therapy, and in some places drama therapy.
Oh yeah, how much?
I don't know. I know people who are studying it. But do you think that these would be helpful things or interesting things? When I say helpful, to keep you engaged and keep you healthy, would things like that be?
You mean with my poetry?
With poetry, or even other things like doing art, or
I can do that too.
yeah. But would you find those things helpful? It's also a way to meet people too.
Yeah.
Hmm.
When you say meet people, that's what I really.
Yeah, I mean, you know the people at the club, but
Yeah.
it's hard too, especially, I mean, Canada, we've got the winters too, where it's
Yeah.
very hard to get around, and,
Yeah.
and it's dark. Do you find it harder to get back and forth in the winter to the club and stuff? I mean, there's all the storm days where we all have to stop moving around. I know I hate waiting for the bus in the snow, but
I hate it too. I wouldn't have to wait for
I'm gonna ask a couple of things, and I may have asked this sort of before, but just because we can conclude with, as I said before, some questions about what you think is needed. And you can say these in any order. I mean, what would help you, but also think what would help other people who are younger now going through things.
Passion.
Passion.
No, compassion.
Compassion.
Equality.
Mm-hmm.
Kind.
Mm-hmm.
Nice, I guess they're the same thing, but
People who care, I guess.
yes.
Do you deal with doctors now? Or
Not
nurses?
psychiatrist,
No. Do you deal with anyone regarding mental health issues?
I'm trying to get
Professionals?
was trying to get my doctor to do something she has. None of them have that I've seen.
Mm. It takes so long to see somebody.
Oh, it's not that they don't have anybody.
Yeah. The compassion and kindness, caring
Understanding.
and understanding. I've heard this term, other people have talked about it, and you said equality.
Mm-hmm.
The term they use is normalize it.
Yeah.
In other words, not the exception, but there's a lot of people with this, and if it was just part of society, which brings equality. So you don't feel like that outsider. Do you feel it's getting better, or not really?
No. I go through a lot of therapy in my head about, am I getting well?
Mm-hmm.
Was I getting well? Is it the welfare that, is the welfare really been helping me in these provinces? And I just haven't realized it.
Mm-hmm.
Is it mostly the illness?
Yeah, no, it's a long road. Do you still feel that you're on your own?
Oh yeah.
You take care of yourself. I
Well,
mean,
I'm
yes,
in a home.
you're in a home, but they take care of your day-to-day stuff.
Yes.
But what the bigger picture of what you're going to do in that is still left to you, isn't
Yeah.
it? And it'd be nice if that was a little different, sort of some programs or assistance.
Mm-hmm.
What about more school? Would you be interested in that?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was shocking to somebody that used to live there, and he was saying, well, as long as you're in that home, they will not let you go to school.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, that's awkward. You know,
Yes.
that's not good. I mean,
No.
I'm not sure why they would do that, but it doesn't seem to help anybody. I
No.
bet a lot of people would like to go to school. Betrina, let me know, just for a few minutes, any conclusions that you've had or wishes that you've had now that you're at this age looking back. Any concluding thoughts or anything? The floor is yours.
I think if I had my life to go over again, I would go do it much, much different.
And how? Do you mind me asking?
Not so rigid on myself.
You were hard on yourself, were you?
Yeah, and it was wrong to have, well, you know, it's wrong not as, you had to keep a virgin because it was wrong to do anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in my time, I realized that I've had children too. Now I'm too late for children.
Yeah. Well, do you think a lot of that is because you were on your own? There was no communication of what was normal and what was... You said you felt much like an outsider. So,
Yes.
So all these things that a lot of people take for granted, such as children or family. Or a job. Perhaps with a little help at the right time these would have been possible, or if other people listened.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Did you end up telling people a lot or asking people a lot for help and just not getting it?
I think so.
Yeah. Now that's difficult. One last thing. Anything else at this point that you would like to put on film?
What I was going to say, something. I had friends, better friends as I was elementary school. No matter where you are, again, if you're poor, it's all the same right through Canada. You don't get treated very nice. And there's a poem I wrote a long time ago, and I like it. A friend of mine likes it too. Maybe I should put it in. It's called Society, and it talks about you say I can come out of my shell at society. Yeah, I think it was shell. You say I can come out of my shell at society. It's a yes. I have to go get it.
I have to go get it. Why don't you bring it to me and we'll put it in.
Well, don't have it here.
Oh, but well, on another day or something,
Okay.
you bring it and we can add it to this.
Okay.
Does that sort of conclude the way you think that poem?
Yes.
Well, let's do that.
Okay.
And we'll. I want to thank you, Betrina. It's nice to hear
about
what you've been through, and I'm sure people would like to hear about that. And your thoughts and opinions of what might make things better. And you got a lot to offer, so thanks for doing this. Okay. Bye, Betrina.